Almost 100 years ago, the strongest hunter from South Korea, named Seiu, was mysteriously thrown into another world. That world was filled with monsters. This event happened after he and his disciples successfully defeated the Demon King on Earth. The only way to return to his original world was by defeating a dragon-shaped monster. The dragon had a special core within its body. That core was believed to have the power to bring him back to Earth. A long battle lasted for years. Finally, Seiu managed to bring down the monster. His legendary healing ability became the key to his victory. After obtaining the core, Seiu swallowed it without hesitation. He was ready to return to Earth. He longed to see his disciples and his younger brother again. The moment he swallowed the stone, he opened his eyes. A vast green landscape welcomed him. Seiu immediately sensed the presence of a mysterious being inside his body. The creature living within his stomach introduced itself as Fry. Seiu stood up and scanned his surroundings. The place felt unfamiliar to him. This surprised Fry, as it was strange for someone not to recognize their home planet. Seiu then explained that Earth's landscapes varied greatly depending on the location. Seiu quickly focused on the mana flow around him. However, what he felt was suspicious. The flow was eerily similar to what he once sensed at a dimensional gate. As he examined his own mana, he discovered a disappointing reality. His power had drastically diminished. Dimensional travel always came with side effects. The first time he was sent to the other world 100 years ago, his strength had plummeted. Now the same thing had happened again. He was left with only about 20% of his original power. This deeply disturbed him. Even Fry was frustrated. Without a rapid mana recovery, their extraordinary abilities would remain dormant. Seiu estimated it would take him a decade to fully restore his power. Upon hearing that, Fry immediately wanted to terminate their contract. With such weak mana, Seiu was deemed useless. While the two argued elsewhere, a woman was running for her life. Gasping for breath, she desperately tried to escape. An orc was chasing her. She had already lost her team. What confused her even more was how quickly the orcs had appeared. In her panic, the woman tripped and fell. The orcs lunged forward, ready to tear her apart. But suddenly, a powerful punch struck the creature, sending it crashing away. The one who delivered the blow was Seiu. He didn't even glance at the orcs as he struck. To him, the creature posed no threat. After confirming the orcs was no longer moving, Seiu turned to the woman. He asked her a question. He wanted to know if this place was Earth. Trembling, the woman nodded. Seiu then asked if this was South Korea and what year it was. The woman confirmed that they were indeed in South Korea. The current year was 2037. Her answer made Seiu fall into deep thought. When he was pulled into the demon world, the year on Earth was still 2027. If his calculations were correct, then 100 years in the demon world equaled 10 years on Earth. Seiu asked one more question. Who is the current president? He said. The woman responded, the current president is Choi Dae-soo. The name left Seiu stunned. He knew it well. But the expression on his face revealed that his memories of Choi Dae-soo were far from pleasant. Seiu muttered something under his breath, his voice too faint to be understood. The woman grew suspicious. She wondered if this man was faking memory loss or time regression. But Seiu ignored her doubts. Instead, he asked, Are we inside a gate? The woman nodded and answered, Yes. We're in the tutorial tower. Seiu frowned. He had never heard of that term before. Seeing his confusion, the woman explained further. A few years ago, this tower appeared as a special gate for hunters. If someone manages to conquer it, they'll gain new powers. The higher their awakening rank, the greater the benefits. They might even get recruited by the strongest guilds, the woman explained. Seiu listened intently. However, the method seemed strange to him. In the past, hunters gained their powers directly, without such a complicated process. Even so, he quickly realized that the only way out of here was to clear the tower. How long does it usually take to finish this tower? Seiu asked. The woman thought for a moment before answering. Most people complete it in 8 weeks. If they're talented, they can do it in 6. The current record is 3 weeks, held by a second-generation hunter named Wan. Seiu fell silent. He wasn't impressed at all. 3 weeks sounded painfully slow to him. Before they could continue their conversation, both of them sensed something approaching, something with a massive aura moving rapidly toward them. Moments later, a giant mutated tiger emerged from behind the trees. The woman panicked and instinctively stepped back. Meanwhile, Seiu remained calm, still preoccupied with how absurdly long the 3-week record seemed. To him, 3 weeks was a ridiculous amount of time. Still, he hesitated. With his weakened strength, he wasn't entirely sure if he could break that record. The mutated tiger lunged toward them. Seiu casually threw a punch without even looking. His fist connected with the tiger's jaw, shattering it into pieces. He sighed. After a moment of contemplation, he made a decision. 5 days. That's enough to finish this tower, he muttered. 5 days later. The scene shifted to Ming Sijun, the guild master of Empire Guild. Sijun was sitting in his office when his assistant entered, looking tense. "Guild master, someone just came out of the tutorial tower," the assistant reported. Sijun looked surprised. "It's been 8 weeks since the trial started, hasn't it?" he asked. The assistant nodded. "Yes, but this completion time is shocking. This person cleared the tower in just 5 days." Sijun froze. 5 days? That was far faster than the previous record. But the surprises didn't stop there. "There's something even stranger, sir. This person isn't on the participant list. There are no records of his group. In fact, there's no footage of him ever entering the tower," the assistant explained. Sijun's eyes widened. "Show me his face," he ordered. The assistant handed him a tablet displaying the person's picture. Sijun went silent the moment he saw the face. He recognized it instantly. The man in the photo was Seiu, his older brother who had disappeared 10 years ago. Back to Seiu. Outside the tower, Seiu and the woman stood together. The woman still couldn't believe it. How could someone clear the tower in just 5 days? But after witnessing how Seiu effortlessly defeated the final monster, she no longer doubted it. Suddenly the system chimed. "Tutorial complete. Congratulations, participant." But then, something strange happened. The system failed to calculate Seiu's skills and stats. The exit gate opened in front of them. Seiu walked out calmly. Outside the tower, an examiner was already waiting for him. A crowd had gathered, whispering to one another in disbelief. "Who is that guy? How did he clear the tower in just 5 days?" Seiu paid no attention to their murmurs. He strolled away casually, indifferent to the crowd. A new chapter of his life had just begun. Not long after, a large-built man arrived at the scene. He didn't look pleased with the commotion. This man was known as the leader of Team 2. The moment the examiners saw him, they rushed over to report the situation. They explained that 2 individuals had just exited the tutorial tower. However, there was something suspicious. One of them wasn't listed as a participant. The large man narrowed his eyes as he stared at Seiu. Something immediately caught his attention. Seiu had come out of the tower without a single scratch. His body looked thin and unimpressive, lacking any visible muscle definition. It didn't make sense. Curious, the man shoved the examiner aside and decided to interrogate Seiu directly. Without any pleasantries, he asked, "Who are you really? Why isn't your name on the participant list?" Seiu remained calm and answered nonchalantly, "I didn't enter through the main gate." The response only confused the man further. As far as he knew, everyone who entered the gate had to exit the same way. So how was it possible for Seiu to leave without being detected in the first place? Seiu remained silent. His expression showed no concern at all. Yet that very calmness only fueled the man's anger. He jabbed a finger toward Seiwu's face. "You must have used some sort of camouflage skill. Don't play dumb." His voice grew harsher. "If you don't confess, I'll consider you an enemy and kill you right here." Still, Seiu didn't react. Not a flicker of fear crossed his face. The man stepped closer and a foul stench wafted through the air. Seiu finally sighed and spoke firmly, "Shut your mouth. Now." The tension in the air spiked instantly. The man's face turned crimson with rage. Seiu added, his tone dripping with disdain, "Your breath stinks." I almost passed out. The insult shattered the man's composure. He clenched his fists and swung a powerful punch at Seiu. Seiu didn't move. He stood motionless, showing no signs of dodging. The massive fist tore through the air. Everyone watching held their breath. But just before it reached his face, Seiu shifted. What happened next left everyone stunned. In one swift motion, Seiu dodged the blow and countered with a single punch. The large man was sent flying, crashing into the ground with a heavy thud. His teammates rushed to help and attacked Seiu simultaneously. However, they too fell in mere seconds. The area descended into chaos. The guild staff were thrown into a panic. The man they had just labeled as suspicious had defeated the entire security team with no effort at all. Seiu let out a tired sigh. "Next time, brush your teeth first," he muttered. Then he turned and walked away. No one dared to stop him. Sejun immediately ordered his staff to retrieve the CCTV footage. They played the recording, and what they saw was truly extraordinary. The video showed a large man and his underlings attacking Seiu. However, in the very next second, Seiu moved incredibly fast. The camera failed to capture his movements. When the image became clear again, the three men were already lying on the ground. One of the staff members reported that Seiu had actually defeated 5 hunters before disappearing. No one saw him leave. The only plausible explanation they could come up with was that the apostle possessed a high-level ability to vanish. However, Sejun disagreed with that conclusion. From what he had seen, Seiu wasn't using any tricks. The man was simply moving at an astonishing speed. Deep down, Sejun was 100% certain that the man was Seiu, his older brother. What was even more surprising was that Seiu seemed completely unchanged from 10 years ago. Sejun's curiosity grew stronger. He immediately issued orders to his staff. Every member of the guild was mobilized to find the man as quickly as possible.